I think it's live streaming now. Okay, so let's start. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So do you see the document?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So today we are going to start the second adhyaya. So the Upanishad has two adhyayas. Of course, let's start with the the Rishyadi Chintana. The Rishi of this Upanishad is Yama Vaivasvata. The Devata of this Upanishad is Vamana Deva. And then the Chandas, mostly Trishtup, which is 11 times 4, 11 aksharas. And in some cases, it is Anushtup. Right? And so in this canto, there's a lot of Trishtup mantras in this, especially the first mantras. They're all Trishtup. So Katopanishad has two adhyayas. We just finished the first adhyaya, and each of the adhyayas, 3 parts called valli. So 3 vallis. And now we are in the second adhyaya, first part or first valli. And in the first adhyaya, first part was how the story developed. The second part was Yama praising the choices that Nachiketa made. And in the third one is, which is the one that we finished last time, is how sadhana is done, right? Sadhana. And now the Yama is going to address the actual third question of Nachiketa, which is, what is the necessity of God once somebody attains liberation, moksha? Because until then you need God for attaining moksha, but once you're in moksha, what is the need for God? That's the basic question. And so Yama will expand on that, saying, just like the way Paramatma is guiding the jivas in samsara, he also guides the jivas in moksha. So it's a whole whole details of how Paramatma is there in life and how the same way he's also in moksha. So Yama is going to go through. So he starts off with what was left at the end of the third part of first adhyaya, which is in sadhana. The first thing is required is indriya nigraha, so a control of one's senses and how those control mechanisms work. And manas is the reins, the chariot model. Buddhi is the actual charioteer, and the charioteer's training is his chitta, or his the vidya is the one that determines whether that the chariot goes in the right direction to the destination. So the right vidya is required, even though it is left unspoken, it's not said there. That is what it is. That vidya is the determining factor of how the charioteer will dominate the horses and lead the horses directly to the destination. So here, that part of that is taken up. That is, what is the role of God and how that knowledge is actually going to make sadhana possible. And this section especially is you can say it represents the highest, loftiest thought in Indian philosophy. Like it epitomizes the loftiest principles, the thought of Indian philosophy and Upanishadic thought. And Gita is actually inspired by this, by which I mean that Gita uses a lot of the mantras, paraphrasing it in Gita. So Krishna uses these mantras in the Gita. So very, very important Upanishad. So now the Upanishad starts off with a beautiful mantra. It says, Paranchi khani vyatranat swayambhu tasmat parak pashyati na antaratman kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanamayikshat avritta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. So, what is the default state of humanity? It says that the default state of humanity is to pursue external things. So here the Upanishad says, Paranchi khani. Kha means whole, right? Empty space. In Sanskrita, kha means empty space. So here it means in the body, the holes or the senses that we use to look out. He says, Swayambhu, Paramatma, Parabrahma, what he has done, khani vyatranat paranchi. That means he has, vyatranat means he has kind of condemned the senses. Khani means senses. The senses to only look paranchi. That means only look outside. That means the body is built in such a way, the senses are built in such a way that all of our 5 sense organs, they're all designed to look outward, get us information from the external world. So that is, he says, Vyatranat means it is condemned. So that by design, it is designed in such a way only to keep seeing externally. But that's the whole problem is externally, when the senses are external, when they're seeing external, what happens? Tasmat, which means for that reason, parak pashyati na antaratman. The whole of humanity only sees parak, means outside. We only see outside. We only think of outside. Tasma, and for that reason, because senses are condemned to only see external, outside. Therefore, senses are the ones that take our attention out, and therefore we always give our attention to the external world at all times. We are also condemned to show our attention to the external world. But then it says, Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshate. That means kaschit means a few. That means what it is saying is whole of humanity is seeing out, it's pursuing external things because the senses are condemned to actually only show us external. But kaschit means only a fraction, only a few among this humanity. What do? Pratyak. So parak means outside, pratyak means inside. Pratyak atmanam aikshat. They see the Paramatma inside, as in the heart, in their hearts. They see in their hearts only a few. Avritta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan. So with what desire? Amrutatvam icchan. That means they see that all the external pursuits are always going to be temporary. Everything external is temporary. So then what they do, their desire is now to actually Pratyak Atmanam Aikshat Avritta Chakshu Amrutatvam Icchan. Amrutatvam Icchan. They want to see something which is immortal, that is not temporary, that is permanent, it's eternal, something that doesn't change. So they cannot find anything outside. Right? And so what do? Avritta Chakshu, they turn their eyes inwards, figuratively. That means now their attention is turned inwards, so their mind's eye turns inwards into within them. It's not, so that is many layers there. So at the highest layer, it is the meditation within themselves in their heart on Paramatma. That is one. But in the most kind of superficial sense of turning the eyes around, it is self-reflection. So it starts off as self-reflection, kind of being tired of chasing impermanent things around externally, and so they turn their eyes inwards and think. They think, they self-reflect, and that self-reflection starts to lead them to the final thing, which is going to be dhyana, meditation. So that is the whole thing. So pratyek atmanam aikshat means in the highest meditation, in the dhyana, when they have reached that dhyana, they actually see Paramatma in their hearts. But that is the final level. But just turning their eyes inwards itself indicates self-reflection. Kaschit dhiraha. So that means you have to see all of humanity is looking outside, external. Why? Because the senses are condemned to take our awareness always to the external world, and then we are always chasing things external in the external world, which is always going to be impermanent. But only a few realize the impermanence of the external world, and they turn their eyes inwards to self-reflect, and then slowly to see the Paramatma in their hearts. So now it is giving you the adhikaris. That means those who are going to understand the nature of Paramatma, they are going to be that kaschit, that few who stop chasing the external senses, whatever the external things that senses give us, and then turn their eyes inwards. They are the ones that reach that understanding of the nature of Paramatma and eventually liberation. Right? Very beautiful mantra. Then it has to contrast. So only kaschit, only a few are doing that. What is the bulk of humanity doing? So the second mantra addresses that. So bulk of humanity, what does it? Parachaha kaman anuyanti balaha te mrutyoho yanti vitatasya pasham atha dhiraha amrutatvam viditva dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. So beautifully it says. So it is contrasting the bulk of humanity and the few that are that are aware and self-reflecting. So what is it? They call this bulk of humanity balaha, basically children, in the sense that they are immature. So it is talking about the mental age or the maturity level age. It's not, you can be a 90-year-old, but you still be bala. That means you can still be immature like a child. So that these immature children with the mental age of children and the mental understanding of children, what happens? Parachaha kaman anuyanti. That means they always pursue, run after the paracha. That means that is outside what the sense organs are giving us. They are always chasing that which is outside us. They're always chasing us. Ashashvata. That means it means that that pursuit will always going to that we chase externally has an end. So then say what does pasham. So in that chase, what happened? They are chasing and chasing and chasing, and then mrityu pasha. So mrityu pasha is basically uh, Yama and
Sunil,
Yama Bhattas.
Sunil, sorry to
Pasha
disturb you.
is see,
Your
I
voice has
mentioned
been
many times
breaking now
before.
and then.
Oh, you've not heard me?
I heard, but it is breaking in between for a few seconds, and then it is coming back good. I don't know it is about only me, but I've seen that.
Hold on.
So when you are talking about Mrityor Yanti, then it broke up at the time, for example.
Ah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So Mrityor Yanti Vitatasya Pasham. So Vitatasya Pasham. What? So Mrityu Pasha. Mrityu Pasha means, I've told many times, I mentioned this. Yama has two forms. One is Yama and the other one is Dharma. So Dharma and Yama. So what is the difference? The evil, or even the ordinary, the bulk of humanity, especially the evil, see Yama, which is like the Ugra form. It's a gory form of Mrityu. That is basically, that is the very ancient way of Judgment Day. Like in Abrahamic religion, they have Judgment Day, but Yama is the judge for the evildoers or for ordinary folks that have no punya. And Dharma is the judge for punya jivis. So these are the two forms. So this Yama, so if you look at Dharma, has a danda. He's a dandapani. So Yama is a Dharma is a dandapani because he's also the judge, right? Dharma is a judge. And Yama is Pasha Hasta. So that means it is, Pasha Hasta means the significance of that noose is that, the animal is trying to run away, but it cannot, right? It cannot avoid the hunter. So that Pasha is that which is, it is trying to run away, but then is brought under control, and then it's punished. So that Pasha is actually always the evil side of things. So here, Yama Pasha represents that the bulk of humanity that have not done anything, they have not learned anything, and they have just wasted their life, they are going to see Yama Pasha again and again. Right? Whenever they are born, they're going to see again and again. Again, they need not be, they need not be in a human form. All animals die. So it's all, again, Yamapasha in that sense. So, but it is Vitata. That means Vitatam means it is widely open. So wherever you run, the noose is still there. When your end is there, when your end happens, that Pasha is there. So that is what it says. Mrityo Vitatasya Pasha means it is everywhere. You cannot escape it. You cannot run away from it because that noose is going to catch up and it's going to, it's going to pull you. So that is what Vitatasya Pasha means. Yama Pasha. Mrityoho, that is Yama's Pasha. Mrityu and Yama, they are synonyms. Mrityu is death, personified. Te yanti Vitatasya Pasha. Mrityo Vitatasya Pasha. Yama's Pasha, every time they are always, that Pasha is waiting for them, and then they are going to be pulled and they're going to be taken to the Narakalokas. And then they are born again. So that cycle just keeps happening and happening, right? So that is what bulk of humanity, that is what happens to the bulk of humanity that are chasing the desires that the senses give us in the external world, even though that is impermanent. So they're chasing impermanence because the world, nature of the world is nothing stays forever, right? Change is the only constant. So, but then he contrasts it with what do these jnanis do? He says, and the sadhakas do. Atha dhiraha. Dhiraha means dhiramanat. That means they are those who rejoice in knowledge. What is their amrutatvam viditva? They understand what is permanent, what is eternal. Dhruvam adhruveshu na iha prarthayante. They understand. Dhruvam means that which is fixed or permanent. So amrutatvam, immortality, they know what stays on forever, what is eternal and what is not. And then with that understanding, And Shankara calls it Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. That means the Viveka, the Viveka means our buddhi, our intelligence is actually trying to differentiate between that which is impermanent from that which is permanent. Right? What is impermanent and insignificant, and what is permanent and significant. So that buddhi, viveka, is what is important. And here that viveka, Yama is talking about that viveka. That is the intelligent ones, the wise ones, they understand what is permanent, what is eternal, and what is impermanent and not eternal. And then with that understanding, they do adhruveshu dhruvam na prartha dhruvam adhruveshu na iha na prarthayante. So they do not want or go after the impermanent in this impermanent world. Right? They understand what is dhruva, what is permanent, and then so they do not ask for or chase after the impermanent. So atha dhiraha amrutatvam viditva. They understand what is immortality. That means what is permanent, what is impermanent, and so what is dhruvam, what is fixed, and then they will not chase after the impermanent. So that is the difference between the few, the jnanis that can turn their eyes inwards, self-reflect, and then through sadhana attain the meditative state where they meditate and see God in their hearts, and those who chase after the senses that pulls it outside, and it is trying to tempt us with impermanent, and then the ordinary folks chase after the impermanent, never to get it. It's like chasing one's shadow. You will never be able to get it. But the wise ones, dhiraha, they understand what is eternal, what is permanent, and they do not choose the impermanent over the permanent. So that is the contrast of the sadhakas and the non-sadhakas, right? So two beautiful mantras. Any questions so far? Can you hear me, or is it coming okay?
It's okay. It has no problem at all. I could hear you well.
Okay. So now, Nachiketa, this is the first part of this verse is what Nachiketa says, and the second one is what Yama is saying. So Nachiketa is it's fine. I mean, you're still telling me about the sadhakas and not sadhakas, and we have already dealt with that before. You tell me the Swarupa. What is the nature of Paramatma? What does he do? So basically what he's saying is what he does with the in this world, in this world, he does the same thing in liberation. And so he's actually going to go through each one of those things and tells us how intimately Paramatma is connected with all of us in our functioning, our understanding, our physical life, our mental life, all of those things, and then how he does the same in liberation as well. So now Nachiketa is saying, enough of sadhakas and all of that. Tell me the nature. So with that, what he says, Yena Rupam Rasam Gandham Shabdan Sparshan Cha Maithunan Yetena Eva Vijanati Kimatra Parishishyate. And Yama says, Etat Vaitat. So he's cutting to the chase. He's saying, okay, let me ask you this question. Okay, answer me. So because he wants to cut Yama's, Yama is still talking about sadhana and all of that. He wants to cut it short and say, okay, tell me the nature of Paramatma. So with that intention, he's saying, Yena, that means by who, Rupam, sight, right? Rupam means forms and sight, basically sight. Rasam, taste. Gandham, smell. Shabdan, sounds. Sparshan, touch, all of these, maithunan is the pleasure of sexual pleasure. All of these things that is normal to any being, any living being, etena eva vijanati. That means it is not because of us that we know all of these things, but because of Paramatma that is sitting within us, that we know all of these things. Right? So again, like, we have mentioned this a lot of times in the Gita and all of that. It is when things work well, we will not know how many things are connected, should work for us to get just a simple sight. Takes a lot of things for that to work. And we only know that when the sight goes, or there is a problem with the sight, we know that it is not, it is not something that just works. There's a lot of things that's going on in that. So that thing so what he's saying is, we have not designed our eyes. We have gotten our eyes. When we open our eyes, we don't wish. And that is the reason why we see a form. We open our eyes, we see a form. So things happen to us. So that is the most important point here. The point is, we have not designed all of these things. All of these things are a given. They happen to us. So that means it's not us that's doing it. It is being done to us. So it is saying, who is doing to us? Who is giving us this sight? So it's Nachiketa himself is saying, Yena Rupam, by whom, by who, which is by Paramatma, we see forms, we taste, we smell, we hear, and all of those things. But only with his will do we understand all of this. Kimatra parishishyate. Is there anything left? There is nothing left. Everything is done by Paramatma. There is nothing left. So I want more. What else is there? Then Yama says, yeah, that is of Paramatma. Everything we can, right? What else is left? There's nothing left. Right? He is the cause of everything. There's nothing left.
One moment, please. Could you please repeat the Etenaiva after that meaning? It got missed out.
Yeah, etena eva vijanati kimatra parishishyate. That means in samsara, all of the seeing and taste and everything is because of Paramatma. Kimatra parishishyate means what is left? Nothing is left. He is doing everything through which we know, we can think, we can talk, we can hear. Everything is happening because of him. There's nothing left. Then Yama says, that is etat vaitat. Even there in liberation, in moksha, etat, this is the same situation. This is exactly Ananda of liberation. It is not automatically we can sense it's Paramatma's grace that will give us that Ananda. Right? Etat vaitat. That is also the same. Right? And then, so that is the whole gist of what he's going to say, that Paramatma has a function in this world, which is basically one-man show. He's doing everything through which we can know. And then what Yama is saying is, he's exactly doing the same thing in Mukti. But the only difference is the Jiva is bound here, but the Jiva is free there. But he's still free because of Paramatma. That still is going to be the case. So he says just one word, he says, in two words, he says, etat vaitat. That is what it is. Right? Exactly the same that is in samsara, nothing is left. Same thing in moksha, nothing is left. He is the cause of everything. Okay. Any question? Okay. Can you, is it coming fine?
It is good now.
Is good. Okay. Yeah. So next thing. So he's talked about senses and our experiences, and that's saying that our experience is because of Paramatma. Next, the states of mind, right? We are what we have, three states. What are the three states of in samsara that we have? Who can answer that? We live in three states.
It's
What are
about
those?
Nidra, Sushumna, that state.
Correct. Jagrat,
Jagrati.
Swapna, Sushupti.
Prasna. Sukriti.
Yeah. So Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. So these are the three states in which we are basically in that cycle of Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Now, Yama is going to answer, address the next one, right? So, Swapnantam, Jagaritantam, cha ubhau, yena anupashyati, mahantam, vibhum atmanam, matva dhiro na shochati. So he says, Swapna antam means end of dream. What is the end of dream? Sushupti, deep sleep. So we are basically awake and dreaming and deep sleep. So three states. We live in three states. And then, and the reason why he's talking is in we are not there in that sense because ego is gone, everything is asleep. And so we are not in control in these two states. What are those two states? Swapnanta. So basically, deep sleep is called end of dream because end of dream state is deep sleep state. So Swapnantam means end of dream state, which is deep sleep. In deep sleep, where there is zero awareness, right? We don't see, don't hear, nothing, right? Nothing is working. So we are basically in a state where it is said to be ananda. That means we are, because there are no thoughts, there's nothing going on at that time. We are only aware of our ananda, our innate nature, bliss, and time. So do two things we are aware of. So that thing, it says, in that state where we don't control, in that state, jagarita antam, what that means, the end of wakefulness, which is dream state. So you have waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. So what he's saying is at the wakeful state, yes, we have that illusion and we can explain away. But in the dream state, we are seeing dreams, but we don't control dreams. What kind of dream we see, what happens, we don't control. And then there's a lot of things that is there, dream. Sometimes the dreams are from our own previous experiences, previous lives. This one, sometimes it's just, future. So dream can be many types of dream. There's said to be like 7 to 8 types of dreams. So there's nimitta dreams. That means you get a dream that is telling you that something is going to happen. So that's a nimitta kind of dream. So all of these kinds of dreams are happening to us. Again, it's happening to us. We know for sure that we are not doing anything. It's all of that we are just experiencing. We are just very passive experience, right? So swapnantam, jagaritantam, cha ubhau, these two, yena anupashyati, from who do we experience this? Not because it's not me. I'm not causing, I'm not even there in the deep sleep state. But the body is working and things are functioning even without me. because I'm in the deep sleep, there's nothing, right? There's no consciousness. Everything is out. But still everything is working. Yena, by which are we experiencing these states? We experience ananda in that state. We experience time in that state. Do you know that we experience time in deep sleep state? So there is experience of time in deep sleep state. And there is experience of bliss in a deep sleep state. But it is different from murchavastha. If you look at murcha, whenever we say murcha is somebody goes unconscious, there's a difference between unconscious and deep sleep. Two different things. Murcha is a dukkha sthiti. They say in the Shastra, sushupti is a sukha sthiti, ananda sthiti. There's bliss of deep sleep. But there is, if when you're unconscious, it is not going to be as healing mentally. It's not going to be healing mentally. It's actually going to be bad for us than deep sleep. Deep sleep is actually healing. So we feel rejuvenated, not from unconscious state, right? So it is called as dukkha sthiti. Murcha is dukkha sthiti. And it's just a in-between state. It's between jagarita and sushupti. It's in between. It's stuck. It's a stuck state. And therefore it is not a blissful state. And it is not something that where you cannot be aware of time as well. I mean, you can go as deep as not be aware of time. So that is not what we are talking about. And Michael Jackson was the one that could not sleep, and he was trying that anesthetic to put to sleep. That was the worst thing, because that is not what leads. See, if you know the difference between murchavastha and sushupti, you would not do that, because anesthesia is going to put you in murcha state, not in deep sleep state, right? So one is healing. Sushupti is very healing. Ananda is there. But murcha is dukkha sthiti. There's no ananda. It's not healing to us. It's not mentally healing, right? So that's very important to understand. Yena anupashyati. Who is giving us this experience? Because we, for a fact, know that we are not doing anything, but things are happening to us. We see the dreams. I don't pick the dream, but we are seeing the dreams. And we are in deep sleep state. I'm not even conscious. I'm not even aware of myself. But everything in the body functions. By who does it happen? Paramatma, right? So that Paramatma, that is the cause of that, is in the body in the atomic state, in a very atomic form. But he's also Mahantam. He's also infinite, but also atomic, right? Infinite and infinitesimal. So both at the same time. He's infinite, Mahantam, and also he is infinitesimal within us, in our hearts. Not just in our hearts, it says Vibhum. In Sanskrit, Vividham Bhavati. Vividhena Bhavati means different states. Paramatma is just not in the heart. He is in every cell, is in every part of the body in different forms. He's sitting in the eyes. He's sitting in the tongue. He is in the skin. He's everywhere, right? Making those things function, right? So, Vibhum, Atmanam, Paramatmanam, Matva, understanding this wisdom, that is manana. Matva means manana. That means when you turn your eyes inwards, there is this reflection going. When you understand that in your reflection, when you think about this in your reflection, then dhiraha na shochati. Then the intelligent, the wise one who is in the path of sadhana no longer grieves. He doesn't know. He no longer suffers, grieves, because he understands how the world works. See, when you turn your eyes inwards and you actually see and self-reflect, you're actually externalizing yourself from the world, right? As long as the senses take you outside, you are in the news of the world, what the senses are giving us. So we are kind of completely within it. We are embedded in it. We are a part of that external world. But when you look inward, then when you self-reflect, you're actually externalizing the world and yourself. So you can actually see the world and see how the world works, what happens, right? Sadhana is a way of zooming out, right? It's zooming out. It's it's a detachment where you actually see the whole world and how it works and how it is a cycle. And therefore you know, right? The ups and downs, there's up, there's down, up and down, up and down. So when you look, detached and you look out, you see how these things work. And you're no longer in pursuit of those ups and downs. You want something that is permanent, right? That is the understanding, right? Swapnantam, Jagaritantam, cha ubhau yena anupashyati. Mahantam, vibhum, atmanam, matva dhiro na shochati. So that means, just like he creates the states of dream, deep sleep, and runs us, so is he doing that in our waking state. And so the same thing he is doing it in our, that is called as turiya sthiti, fourth sthiti. Fourth sthiti usually is samadhi, but it's also the moksha sthiti is also the fourth one. That is like 3 plus 1, right? That is the one liberated state. In that liberated state, is same thing that Paramatma, same things that he does in these 3 states, he also does in the 4th state, which is the liberated state. But he also does it in all the 8 states. There's 8 states we have. Did you know that we have 8 states?
No.
Right? So there are 8. I mean, it's 8 state in our samsara. We are in 3 states, right? We are in wakeful state, we are in dream state, and we are in deep sleep state. 3 states. But then that is then when you come out of it, then you have the turiya sthiti, right? So it's janma, sthiti, laya, and then niyamana, jnana, ajnana, bandha, moksha. So these are the 8 states in which we are. So the 3 basically are the wakeful state, which is like creation, the dream state, which is like sustenance, and the deep sleep state, which is like the destruction. And then and niyamana is the actual control, right? That means we are also being guided in our wakeful state, with the desires that come, the actions that we do, the thoughts that occur. Very important exercise in self-reflection is to understand this one thing, right? It leads to a very, very deep states of meditation. The understanding is we don't create thoughts, our own thoughts. Thoughts occur to us. It's a very, very, very powerful insight, right? So it's like, okay, so my thoughts are not my own. I mean, I didn't create my thoughts. My thoughts occurred, right? Things occur to us. It's very, very rarely, I mean, I can say I'll think in the next second, I'll think about my mouse. And then, mouse, I can, you can deliberately do it. It's not like you cannot do it. But 99.999% of all of your thoughts occur to you. So if and the point that thoughts occur, thoughts are not created, thoughts occur, tells us that even our thinking is not in our control, because you cannot control what thoughts occur to you, right? A very, very powerful insight. What thoughts occur to you, you don't control that, right? What we do is when a thought occurs, we identify with that thought, right? And that is one of the things in meditation where, and the brain is actually a storytelling machine, right? And you'll understand that when you sit in meditation and you're trying to focus on something, and suddenly your mind wanders to something, and then there's a drama that's going on. There's a story that's being told, right? So what happened there is, even though intentionally you want to think about something, a thought occurred in your mind, and without even you knowing, your mind went and grabbed that thought and became part of that story, right? You're thinking of something. And then after some time, sometimes you'll quickly you'll realize, sometimes it'll take some time. And then realize, oh, I was actually trying to meditate. Now I'm thinking of something else. I'm in some story. Okay, you pull yourself again and kind of focus back on what you wanted to focus, right? So then when you are actually doing that, you will know that thoughts actually occur, right? So thoughts are coming to us. So, when you say my thought, it is, it is not really 100% true. It is my because you made it mine, as in when some story occurred in your mind, you became part of that story. You identified with that, right? So that's what we do with all our thoughts. So even in the waking state, it is as exactly like your dream state where we don't really control thoughts. Thoughts occur to us. It is how we pursue those thoughts, whether we identify them or not, that actually, that actually determines what kind of thoughts will come to us more. But it is very, very kind of freeing to know that thoughts are not our creations. Thoughts are occurrences. They occur to us, right? It's very, very important insight. So that's what he's saying, what Yama says, just like in the dreaming state and the deep sleep state, in also waking state, these thoughts are occurring to us. And we are unknowingly making this decision to identify with these thoughts and carry on with our life. Only few people turn their eyes around, like the first mantra says, and understand this process, right? And when liberation happens in moksha, that is exactly the same. But in that state, there is no bandhana. We are not bound by that. So our thoughts are achetana in this. That means it is a brain telling us a story, and we are running after that story. In moksha, it is our chetana itself. Everything is of the nature of knowledge. Everything is conscious. So see, in bandhana, in samsara, we are divided into two parts, right? And I've given an example of elephant and an ant, right? So that is our submerged, unconscious, subconscious mind and the body and the mind, right? The body's intelligence, mind intelligence, that is the major part. On top of it is consciousness. That is what is I and will and desire and all of those things come on top of that. So when we are doing things, a lot of things, bulk of things are happening at a very unconscious level. It's only a little bit of it which is at the conscious level, right? That is in samsara. But in moksha, prakriti is not there. So prakriti is what is that unconscious, subconscious self, right? That's the one that is, and that's the one that's the genetic intelligence. It's all of the subconscious intelligence that's based on experience and all of those things that are in the background, the hidden hand driving us, right? It's driving the choices, the decisions, what we think, how we think. Everything is determined by that. But in moksha, there is no prakriti. So in moksha, that awareness that was just a fraction of our in our samsara is the full 100%. So everything, there is nothing hidden. Everything is 100% jnana. So that is the difference. But even in that jnana, Paramatma is there. He is the one that is giving us that experience, and he is us guiding us. But there, our will and Paramatma's will are in sync at all times in moksha, but not in samsara. Right? So that is the difference. That's what Yama is saying. Swapnantam jagaritantam cha ubhau yena anupashyati mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiro na shochati. Again, you can add etat vaitat. Exactly like this, Paramatma also controls the liberated there. Right? Any question?
So how do we interpret this? Bhagavan is controlling the thought processes in the Swapna Jagrati state to the moksha state.
Yeah. So in the moksha state, that the thought is not going to occur to you. You are the creator of that, because you are only Chetana. Nothing else is there. Right? So in this physical form, Chetana, Prakriti is the one that is giving us the thoughts. Right? Of course, behind Prakriti is Paramatma, and Paramatma is doing it. But the Prakriti, the submerged unconscious self, that is the one that is giving us all the thoughts. And then we are identifying with that thought, and that is how we build and act and desire and all of that. But in moksha, we are 100%, conscious and aware. There is no unaware part of us, right? There's no submerged, hidden part of us. Everything is open in liberation, right? So, but still, Atma is still dependent on Paramatma for all of these things. The bliss, everything that needs to happen to us is also from Paramatma. So, Paramatma also powers the mrutaji, I mean the martya, which is the mortal in samsara, and also the immortal in liberation. So both of them, but it is not, the design is not the same. So in liberation, everything is conscious, right? So let me ask you this, right? So when we say, okay, Vishnu Chaturbhuja, he has Shankha Chakra, Gada, Padma, and all of that. Which metal is the chakra?
Which one? What is the question?
Metal is chakra.
Metal.
What material is Gada?
Material for chakra should be Agni.
No.
I don't know.
It is Chetana. There is nothing physical. So what you're talking about, Agni, that is in the Avatar Rupa, Agni, Agni is on top of it. But let's say in the Mula Rupa, when Shankha Chakra Gada Padma is there, say in Vaikuntha means moksha, there is no Prakriti there. So there cannot be any Agni. There cannot be any material.
Got it.
Right? So none of those is any material. Gada is also consciousness. Padma is also consciousness. Chakra is also consciousness. Everything. Shankha is also consciousness. There's no material there. Right? So if something is in the Vaikuntha Loka, which is Moksha Loka, there it cannot be material. Right? So that is very important to understand that nothing. See, they say in a Puranic language, they say Vaitarani Nadi, when the liberation happens, we are, we still carry our Sukshma Deha. Right? Okay, did you hear
this
that?
before the Vaitarani Nadi, whatever you said, it was garbled. It went off in the communication.
Yeah.
The
So
chakra and
what happens
Gada,
is, in the
what
Puranas,
Uh-huh.
so in the Puranas, it talks about, that the Jiva after death, especially moksha, they still have the physical body is gone, which is again Prakriti based, physical body. But then we still have Sukshma Sharira. We have Ajnana Sharira. All of those things are there, which is nothing. Ajnana Sharira is nothing but the unconscious self that we have, right? Prakriti. So all of that are still there. And that will never go away, right? Death, even in death, the Sukshma Sharira is still there. And the Sukshma Sharira is the one that gets the next body, right? So that is how the continuity is maintained. But then what happens when somebody is eligible for moksha, the first thing happens is, they, in the Puranic language, it says they go and dip in the Vaitarani Nadi. So that dip means what? That is the dip where the Sukshma Sharira, everything goes away. So that grip that we were in for all of the samsara, at last will go away. Because there is this border. Vaitarani is said to be the border in the Puranic language, the border between Prakriti and Moksha. Because on the other side of Vaitarani is all Chetana. On this side, it's Prakriti and Chetana together. And Chetana bound by Prakriti. On the other side, there's no Prakriti. I mean, not in the form of, as a binding form. Right? It is all Chetana. So then you have to think that, oh, in this world, everything is Chetana. So, when it talks about, stone, everything is Chetana. And in the language of the Puranas, it says what is there, what the world is a reflection, just a fractional reflection of what is out there. The glory out there is what we see in a fraction here. Right? So that is how the description is. Once you cross the Vaitarani Nadi, that means once the Sukshma Sharira is gone, after that is always Chetana. Everything is awareness. Everything is of the nature of awareness. Right? So that is very important to understand that. Is that good? Is that fine? Did you understand?
I will just recollect that where Jiva, which has to enter the moksha, before that it has to get rid of all those Sukshma Sharira by dipping in the Vaitarani Nadi. And
Yeah,
after the
as a means of it's a way of saying. I mean, Nadi is not a river. I mean, it's like, in the Jnana Chakshus. It's like saying that from the navel of Vishnu, lotus came. I mean, lotus comes after creation. I mean, we are talking about much before creation. Where's the lotus?
Mm,
Right? So it is in the Jnana Chakshu, it looks like a lotus, and that lotus is nothing but Prakriti. See, Brahma is born from Prakriti, right? And that lotus is that Prakriti. That Prakriti, that means Prakriti gives birth to, from the navel of Paramatma, Prakriti gives birth to Brahma. But in the Jnana Chakshus, they see that as look like a lotus. So they describe it as a lotus. Right? The same way, right? In the Pralaya Jala, they say Pralaya Jala, the water of the destruction. What water is not there, right? Water is there only in samsara. It's there when it is creation, when there is panchabhutas, Jala Tattva, everything should be there. How can there be water before that? It is water-like. That means all of the world is now just like, unrecognizable entity. That's it. It's a flow. Nothing. That is a nadi. So don't go by nadi means there's actually a river there. No, there's nothing like that. It is in the Jnana Chakshus, they describe. See, you need words to describe something. They use, to describe something that you and I don't know, it has to be put in terms of things that we know. Otherwise, there's no knowledge communication possible, right? We learn the unknown by comparing it to the known, and that's what Upanishad, all the Shastras does. Is, when it says Vaitarani Nadi, there's no Nadi there. It is like, just like we go and dip ourselves and cleanse ourselves in the river, the same way we dip in that river called Vaitarani, and it is like a river. I don't know what it is, but then that thing removes our Sukshma Sharira at last.
Then
when we cross it,
it's like in airport, we go through the X-ray scanning process.
No.
yeah.
So
And when
this
you
is
go to the other side, you have lost everything. All the baggage is lost. There's nothing there. No karma, no nothing. Everything is gone.
super.
Yeah, that is. But what is there is just the Chetana.
And then there is one interesting thought, Sunil. You said that the brain is a storytelling machine. Unconsciously, the desires or thoughts get into part of the story, and we get similar thoughts occur to us. This looks like the AI part of Google, where we talk a word, it keeps on giving us different search results or YouTube recommendations as well.
Yeah. No, everything that we create is in our image, right? What we are going to create that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So the thing is that we get lost in our own the thoughts that occur to us. So that is if you go back to the Gayatri mantra, that is prachodana. Prachodana means what? Prachodana is to influence, is to direct, to guide, right? So we are at every second guided by the thoughts that occur to us.
Mm.
So Gayatri mantra is a prayer to make those thoughts guide us in a better way. So it's a prayer to the Savita, is the Paramatma in the sun. We are saying Paramatma in the sun, you are there every day. Please guide us with good thoughts in the good path. Right? So that is and the same mantra, there is one in the at death, when the cremation happens. It's actually Ishavasya Upanishad mantra. It's
Mhm.
Agne Naya Supatha Raye. That means, oh Agni, take us in Supatha, good path, in a good path. Right? So in life, we are asking Gayatri, Savita, to guide us in the good path. In death, we are asking Agni, that burns, to take us in a good path. So it's very beautiful. You can see that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. So let's go to the fifth mantra. Any more questions? Any other things? How did you like it? Do you like this? Want to know something more?
Uh, we I like it a lot. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So I just have one question. Like, if I don't, so what is the relationship between consciousness and Atma? Meaning that question keeps on coming to me. So I know, like, a consciousness, people describe it as awareness, but awareness is different from Atma, right?
No, awareness is the property of Atma.
Yeah,
Right? So
property of Atma. Yeah,
property of
that's the
Atma.
way.
So if
Correct.
you there's this discussion, Raghutam, he brought this up, right? The AI part. So the question is, can AI ever be aware, right? And a lot of discussions have happened. See, AI is intelligence, and awareness is completely different from intelligence. So a lot of people, they mistake intelligence and awareness. You can have intelligence without awareness. You can have intelligence with awareness. So just because something is very intelligent, it need not be awareness. Or at some point, they say of the as at some point when the functions are very complex, it suddenly develops awareness. No, it's nothing like that. So it is intelligent. AI is intelligent without being aware. Humans are intelligent being aware. So there are two types of intelligence. Right?
Right.
And just going back to, I don't know if Karthik is here. Yeah, he's here.
I'm here.
Yeah. So one of the things in Jyotisha, the intelligence without awareness, or basically, it's kind of artificial, is what is Rahu.
Yeah,
Because Rahu is head only without the heart, right?
that's correct.
And I was having this discussion with Srini the other day, and he was asking me, I mean, like in Jyotisha, what does this intelligence mean? I mean, what is artificial? And then we were discussing that, and it was like, Rahu is that
AI.
intelligence.
Rao is the new AI.
Rahu is I mean, he's the AI Karaka. That means it's only
AI
thinking
Karaka.
without
Yeah.
without the emotion. and without the awareness and intelligence and everything. That is what
Yeah.
Rahu is. But Guru is intelligence with awareness. So Guru is the real knowledge, jnana, wisdom. Guru is wisdom. So actually, even in that, Guru is wisdom. Buddha is knowledge, right? It's
Yeah, that's correct.
Buddha is telling you facts, right?
Or knowledge seeking. Buddha is knowledge seeking, right? Or knowledge seeking or knowledge. I think
Looks like Sunil connection is frozen.
I asked question. This is what happens.
Yes. Is it Buddha asking Guru?
Yeah, that's Buddha asking Jupiter. Yeah, Rama. Hmm. For some reason, that the link that Sunil sent not working in my MacBook. I just don't know why. I just keep saying it's wrong. Then I had to log in through my mobile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. This is freaking MacBook. It's just not allowing.
Yeah, I joined through MacBook Air only. It works well.
Okay. Really எனக்கு அந்த லிங்க் அப்படியே வாட்ஸ்அப்ல போட முடியுமா? அப்படியே
Yep.
ஃபுல் அண்ட் மேல இருக்குது. அப்படியே கட் பண்ணி அனுப்புங்க.
Sure.
Hey, hold on. I came back. It kicked
Thank
me out
you.
for some reason.
Yeah. I said when Buddha is asking question to Jupiter, this is what happens.
Right? So yeah, so Buddha is a immature, right? Buddha is always, see, Buddha is a balaka, right? Buddha is a child. And
Yeah.
if you look at the Adidevatas, and Buddha is Vishnu in the sense that Vamana,
Mm.
right? So Buddha
Yeah.
is that, and the child, what are the property of the child? The child is immature. The child wants to learn, right? It's very curiosity.
Dropped again. Needs to reset his internet, I think. Swami, அமிச்சிட்டீங்களா?
Hey, Raghuttam, can you hear me?
Now it is okay. Yeah.
It dropped for a few minutes.
So I was saying, Buddha is like a child. Right? Buddha is curious. Buddha wants to learn. Is a good, is a good follower, good student. It is immature, and so it is about competing and debating and all of this. Everything is Buddha, right? The intelligence at Buddha level is still apakwa, fully ripe, right? It's still about facts and logic and all. When it go to the Guru level, then it is wisdom, right? Guru is not going to convince anybody. Guru is completely convinced, right? This conviction, somebody wants to follow, then the Guru will teach, right? So the Guru and Buddha together is called as Bhagavad Gita Yoga in Jataka. That means Guru is like Krishna, Arjuna is Buddha. So they are the eternal, teacher and pupil. So that is a very good combination to have for somebody to always learn throughout their life, to have Guru and Buddha, yoga. So, I don't know why I started this, but the AI discussion.
You're
Right?
talking AI concept, yeah.
Yeah. So even in that discussion, Guru represents the highest wisdom. Buddha represents intelligence, right? Somebody can be very intelligent, but miss the whole point, right? So that is what Buddha's intelligence is, right? So that is one form of intelligence. Guru's intelligence is the highest form of intelligence. It's a Guru intelligence. It's a teacher, right? And he's the one who is always going to be very wise, right? He's very wise, and that is a different kind of intelligence. So We have Rahu kind of intelligence, which is completely cut off from any kind of awareness. It is hollow. And then we have Buddha kind of intelligence, which is awareness-based intelligence, but it is at a very less level. And then you have Guru kind of intelligence, which is the highest. So that's what is a Paravidya. So those are different kinds of things. So yeah, I think coming back to Krishna's question, awareness is Atma, right? Atma's property is awareness. Again, even when we say property, we should be very careful to say, to understand that Atma has no parts. So property and the one that has property are the same. So Atma is awareness and awareness is Atma. Right? Even though in words when we say Atma has awareness, so can Atma be unaware? No, Atma is awareness. Right? So that is that is important to understand. So that's Chetana. So consciousness, again, awareness is at the Atma level. Consciousness is is its expression through the body, right? You can be conscious, be unconscious, and all of that, which is basically how the mind is controlling the awareness of the Atma, right? Does that awareness go through the senses world? Does it just remain, which is in the waking state? Does it remain within itself, which is in the dream state, and then which is completely cut off? So one of the very important points is have awareness even when none of the things in the faculty of the brain is working in the, like as in the waking state. In the deep sleep state, we are still aware of ananda, we are still aware of time, which we are not aware of when we are in deep sleep, because there's no awareness in deep sleep. No, it's not. There is no awareness of awareness in deep sleep, right? There is no second order awareness. We are not aware of awareness. We are aware, that's it. But when we get up, we are aware of the time. We are aware that, oh, I think I slept for a long time. I think it was a very good sleep. I had a very good sleep. So all of those things come because there was an experience, right? And if it was completely, everything was cut off, you will never have that experience of time and bliss that you have in a deep sleep, right? So that is one of the things, that is in the commentaries in the second chapter of the Gita, like when all of the body is sleeping in deep sleep, everything is down, the awareness is still there, right? So that awareness is unchanging, and therefore there is Atma. So that discussion goes on in the second chapter commentaries. So very, very discussions, because that's where they say that there is no awareness of bliss and time, but there is no awareness of that awareness until we wake up. So very beautiful arguments, that chapter. Okay, so do you want to continue fifth one, or do you want to stop here?
Yes, this particular sloka has been so much of, or mantra has been of so much of thought in it. One dumb question, Sunil.
Yeah,
So
come on. There's
when
no
I
dumb question.
when I use my Apple Watch or Fitbit watch, okay,
Yeah.
there is a sleep status are given, okay, like REM, deep sleep, etc. So should
Yes.
I core sleep, REM sleep, and then
Yes.
deep sleep? So should I take that deep sleep equivalent to the Shushupti, the REM equivalent to the
Dream state.
dreaming, Swapna?
Yes.
That's how I can map, like at least
Yes.
approximately.
Correct. REM is this one, dream state.
Swapna.
Yeah, REM is Swapna, correct. So the rapid eye movement, when you're dreaming, that is happening, right? So that means the circuits in the brain are still, some of them are still there. They're still working. And then in the deep sleep, nothing is working. So your all of those faculties, they're all off. So it's only that there's something way below our conscious level. that is the one on, right? There's something on all the time, right? This prana is on, and there is awareness that's on, but we are not aware of that awareness, right? That's our unawareness. So very interesting. How do you know time? So, and then I was there's a book on sleep, and it does say that, we have these cycles, right? There's what do you call that? The daily cycle. I forget that name.
Circadian.
Yeah, circadian rhythm. So circadian rhythm. So if you look at this, that is basically day and night, right? And they found out that, so initially the thinking was that that rhythm is done, right? When sun rays hit us, that that determines that rhythm. So in that book, what they said was there was some experiment where the experimenters, the scientists actually went to a cave where the light will not enter, so deep that light doesn't enter there. And they were there for 7 days or something like that, right? Pitch dark. And they were still able to go through this cycle of sleeping and wakefulness and all of that stuff. And so then they discovered that there is a clock within us, independent of day and night, right? But that clock is brought in sync when we expose ourselves to the sun. Every morning, they say that you have to expose yourself to the sun, and the circadian rhythm actually syncs to the sun. And so that cycle, right? That cycle happens. And so, but we have an internal clock within us. That is actually, there's a day and night clock that's going on within us, right? So that clock is there within us. So when we sleep, that clock keeps time. And then, like for example, when there is something that you need to get up early, I need to get up early, and then you get up at the time, maybe 5 minutes before the alarm. But how did that happen? Because there was a timekeeper in the brain, right? There's a time rhythm that's going on in the brain, and that awareness. So our awareness is aware of that time, right? So if you look at all of those things, these discussions have happened in the bhashyas and all of those things hundreds of years ago. I mean, even more than 1,000 years ago. But that's not been connected to what has been found in the scientific literature in a very good way. Not in a there's all this crazy thing, right? That not that, but in a way where circadian rhythm is within us even without sunlight, right?
Our mitochondria is registered with that. They program the mitochondria kind of thing.
No.
Don't have the.
It is the waking and this melatonin and that cycle is what we sleep when that melatonin level increases. So that kind of thing.
And then without light, how come we wake up?
That is the thing. There is a clock within our brain. To say that scientists went to a very pitch dark place, and they were able to still wake up and sleep and kind of, I documented all of that in pitch dark. Maybe they probably spoke and recorded it. I don't know. But they were able to, and then when they saw that it was actually a cycle, but bigger than 24 hours. I think it was more than 24 hours, but very not too much, just a little more than 24 hours. But they were actually sleeping and waking up in a cycle. And then they found out that there is that circuit that keeps track of time in our brains. Right? So in Sushupti, our awareness is such a low level, that our awareness is only our bliss and time and things like that. Right?
So
That's
we can compare Sushupti with the core sleep or something.
deep sleep.
Okay.
Sushupti means deep sleep.
Sushupti.
It's very important, right? So that means there is awareness, but there is no awareness of awareness. That only happens when we get up and then we get a sense of, I slept for too long, or I slept for a little bit. We don't know exact, but we have that sense that we have slept for a long time or a short time and all of that stuff. Right? So that's very intriguing and very interesting things that that correlates with the concepts of Vedanta. So we will stop at this time. The fifth one, and later I think we'll do that in January. I know there's a program for kids, and so even I'm planning to go to the temple. Psychologist, his lecture is there, but we'll stop at this point. But the next verses and then the next sections goes very deep into samsara and how things work in samsara, and then how its counterpart in moksha also is very similar, but there's no prakriti to it.
முடிஞ்சதுன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் இல்லையா?
முடிஞ்சது.
கலந்துலாம்.
அவர் கனெக்ஷன் ட்ராப் ஆயிடுத்து.
ஆமா, அகைன் இல்ல.
Come back now.
I'm back. So I was saying madhu adam means he who eats the sweetness, in the sense that the good we do also enjoy. So look at one of the mantras in the first adhyaya, Ritam pibanto sukritasya loke guham pravishto parame pararde. So in that one, he's Ritam pibanto. That means when we do good things, he enjoys the bliss of the sarabhaga, the bliss of when we work in a dharmic way, we actually feed God within us. And that is what madhu adam means. That is the sweetness. He's the eater of sweetness, or the bliss that is generated by our karma, that he guides. Right? So ya imam madvadam Veda, those who know him as the one who partakes the ananda, the bliss of our actions, that he guides, atmanam jivanvantika. So that is very important. So this atma, see, people always get confused. Oh, the Upanishad says atma, isn't that our atma, self? Is he not talking about self? No, he's talking about atma and jiva. Atma in Upanishads always means Paramatma. Atma is a very generic. See, when you add para prefix to it, it becomes Paramatma. When you add jiva to it, it becomes jivatma, right? So atma means that which has no body, right? And also atma, ishvara, aishwarya, all of those things, other meanings come. But atma means like that. In the Upanishads, atma means Paramatma. Jiva means jiva, individual. So here if you see atmanam jiva mantika, then that means he's always Antika means we always close to the jiva. He's always close to jiva. Every jiva in the body, Paramatma is close to the jiva. And that's why in the Upanishad they talk about two birds, right? That that fly into the tree, and they're always eternal friends. Or you cannot say not friends, but eternal pairs. And one bird is eating the fruits of the tree, and if that is sour, it suffers, it's a bad taste, and the other one just looks on, right? So so those two birds, Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakha. So the two birds are Paramatma and Jiva. So those are the two birds. Jiva suffers and Paramatma looks on. Right? So that is a beautiful thing in Upanishad. It comes here also. And so Jiva Antika means we are an eternal pair. Jiva and Paramatma are eternal pair. Every Jiva, you, me, every Jiva, insect, in every Jiva, there is a Paramatma who is the actual charioteer. So you can take that pair as Krishna-Arjuna pair, right? The charioteer and then the one who is going through the journey. So every Jiva has that within us. What are we feeding? Are we feeding bliss to that charioteer or not? That is what our karma determines, right? So they're beautiful. So you can see all of those things in the next verses. Beautiful. It is this is like the highest thought, Indian thought, the highest level of Indian thought. It's here. So we'll stop at this point and then pick it up next in January. I don't know when the Sanskriti classes, I don't know if there are dates announced for that, but we will be on the same dates as Sanskriti in person. But I'll try to get, I know there's a lot of people who live outside that are very interested and they've been asking me. So we will try to do, live stream, in an in-person class. And so we'll see how that works, right? So until then, let's finish with the prayer. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsanura Mardanam Deva Om. Any questions? Anything before we stop?
Yeah, good.
Nothing? Can you hear me?
You're good, Sunil. No
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Very good.
Yeah. Okay. So we will
Oh,
stop here. Yeah. What was that?
it's breaking, coming back.
Ah,
As we were saying thank you, which is coming back.
yeah. Okay then.
Thank you, Sunil.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
remember, next week is Gita Jayanti. Karthik knows, and Raghutam, I think you also know that. Don't miss it. Please attend on 15th, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It will be very good.
Sure, Sunil. Thank you.
Okay then.
Thank you.